Welcome everyone, Smoker from Judas Priest, actually two. This is just, these songs along with You Got Another Thing Coming, I just really love this album. The Hellion starts out, now most of the live Priest don't do the Hellion, they just play it as a recording and they come out with Electric Eye. So, now I've read there's 4 or 5 harmonized guitars, and there probably are. I'm going to touch on the 2 main ones, and we'll go over that, and then we'll get into Electric Eye. I'm going to talk about 2 ways to play that main lick. One is bouncing off the 6th string, and the other is bouncing off the root note of each note we hit. And I'll talk about why, what the differences are. Okay? So, this song we are in standard tuning. I've written out the tab according to my lessons, so that's downloadable right below the video in a link. Just click on that and you can get the PDF. No hokey pokey, it's all free. Thank you for all your support with the ads. As always, that does add up and helps me. So with that said, let's get started. So for the intro, the guitar 1, as I've written it out, will go on for 2 measures. The last 2 measures, the harmony guitars enter. And like I said, I've read there's multiple, and I'm sure there are. You can do them octaves and so forth. I'll show you the main harmony, which is 3rds above it. So you'll have that. That's how I've written it out. So the song will start out around an E, kind of an E whole motif, if you will. So we're going to play an open 6th string, and then we're going to come to the 9th fret of the 4th string. And then we come to 8, 7 on the 2nd string, and then we'll hit 9. And those are individual notes. So that repeats twice, and then the lick changes. What we do is we play the first 2 notes the same, open 6th string to 4th fret 9, and then we go to the 1st string 7, and then 2nd string 10, 8. Alright, so we have this. Alright, then we're going to move up to C arpeggio. So we're going to play this C 5th root, and we'll play the 5th, 4th, and 3rd string. To a D power chord, just play the first 2 strings, the 5th and 4th, that's fine. And then we move up to an E, but we're not going to hit the 5th string. We're going to pluck the 3rd, and then the 4th. Alright, so we have this. Alright, so let's take this whole first measure because it'll repeat. Alright? And then we come in with the harmony guitar. So I'm not going to talk about the repeat. We know it'll go on 2 more measures, and we'll talk about how it ends after I show you this harmony guitar. Alright, so the harmony guitar is going to actually start off with our 3rd lick. We're going to go from the 1st string 7 to 10 and 8. Alright, so this is how it starts off, the harmony guitar, one of them. We'll do that again. Now it's a little bit different. What you want to do is move your first finger to this 9th position. We'll be playing the 1st string from 12 to 10 and then back to 12 on the 2nd. Now he doesn't come up and do this. He holds that 12 on the 2nd string. And then he comes in with a 10 to 12 when he's doing the. So again, it's different if you listen to it. this is how it will go. Alright, so now that's one measure. The second measure, again, it'll be different. We're going to move up basically to the 12th position now. So we're going to hit open 6th string to 14 on the 5th string. And then we come to 12 on the 1st string to 15 and 12 on the 2nd. So we have this. Then what we do is move up to that 14th position with our first finger, because we're going to be playing 15, 14, and then 17. And then we come up to 22 twice, the second time with vibrato and then a bend. All right, so that whole second measure of the harmony guitar. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I'll explain those harmonic steady ends with in a minute. What's going on with the other guitar during this 4th measure, or 2nd measure with the harmony guitar, we're doing our B arpeggio to D, and then just the 2 notes on the E. Then we hit an E chord. That's when we're hitting the 22 with the harmony notes, but the other guitar is hitting this E power chord. Alright, so guitar 2 is doing this 22 hit, vibrato, and then bent. Then guitar 2 comes up and does these pinch harmonics, 9 on the 3rd string to 8 on the 4th string, back to the 3rd string at 9. And play with it. It's in about the middle area between your pickup. Almost sounds like a European police siren. Just gotta get those harmonics. They're not very prominent, but they're there. All right, and then we go into Electric Eye. So again, I've written it out. That'll really help you follow along. Electric Eye. Now, like I said, there's 2 thoughts of playing this. I believe the recorded version, and from what I can see of the old versions of KK and Glenn Tipton playing this, they are bouncing off the 6th muted string. All right. There's a lesson out there that Richie Faulkner does with Gibson guitar, and I'll have a link below the video, where he teaches this lick, and I believe he plays it differently. He plays the root note of each implied chord. So we're going to do the E first. Then when he hits that C note, he's going to use that C note to bounce off of. And A, and B. Alright, it definitely has a slightly different feel, but if your palm muting's good, there's minute difference. So I'm going to show you the lick the way I wrote it out with the 6th string bounced off. But you get it, you'll just use the last note you struck. C, A, or B as your muted note. Alright? So the song, starting it out, I think they actually hit a quick 6th, open 6th string, and then upstroke on the actual E chord with the 5th root. I hear definitely, it's not, but it's a, there's a little more to it, and I think the reason is if you do that, your picking hand is on the upswing. Right? And the reason I say that is because when we're bouncing off these notes, we're going to come down, up, down, up. Right? So again, it's kind of hard to show because I'm zoomed in, but so you get the idea, but it's a real back and forth that gets you up to speed for this. Okay, so the actual lick. So we hit our open 6, up strum real quickly on the E power chord with the 5th root. Slide down. Then we're going to palm mute the 6th string between each one of these notes. So 6th string, and then we go 2, then 4 and 5 with the palm mute between each one. The 2, 4, 5 is on the 4th string. Then we're going to hit the 3rd fret of the 5th string. Alright, now we're going to, again, start with the 6th string, bouncing back and forth, 2, 4, 5, but now we're going to hit more of an A power chord. Alright, so we have this. Then we're going to do those bounces again up to 5, and then we're going to hit the 2nd fret. We're not going to hit a B chord, just the 2nd fret of the 5th string. Then we bounce from the 6th string, palm muted, to the 4th fret. This will be the other note in this B power chord. This will be the 5th. Okay? And then we go to 2 palm muted on the 5th string, and then 5 to 4 on the 4th string. Alright, so from the 2, so there's, again, let me zoom out. You saw those notes, so you could see the picking hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, at that point, now there's another guitar that comes in, and I've noted it when it comes in and what chords it's playing, because it's just playing chords. All right, so what we do after that, we've done the B, then we hit an E power chord again at the 5th root and slide back down. So it'll be 7th fret and 9th fret on the 5th and 4th string. Alright, so all together from the intro. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, then we go through the lick again. So the second half of that intro, what we're going to do is move down to more of a riff-based chord. Alright, 2 measures of this. We're going to start out palm muting on the 6th string into an E power chord. We'll do the palm muting 6 times with a chord between each 2. The last 2 won't have a chord. I'll show you what we do. What we do is go to 7 on the 4th and 3rd string, referencing the lower half of a D chord, and then we'll hit it again, hammered into E. So we have this. Again, this is pretty quick, so be prepared or slow it down. Now what we're going to do is 2 more palm muted 6 to an E power chord, another palm muted set, and then another E power chord before we do something a little different. Alright, so what we're doing, like I said, after the 2nd E, we're going to take the 7th fret of the 5th and 4th string, referencing an A. We're going to slide that to A sharp back to A. So 7, 8, back to 7 on the 5th and 4th string. Very quick. and then just hammer into this E power chord. And then we start over, all right? So let's go through this twice. The only difference is the second time we're going to do, we won't do the hammer in from the E chord. All right, we're just going to stop, not stop, but I'll show you what we do after that. All right, so 2 times through, 2 measures, 1, 2, 3, 4. At that point, we go into the verse, which I did again in the shortened intro. We're going to hit the open G with the referencing a G chord with the open 4th and 3rd string, and then an A. All right, so we have this. All right, so I'll touch on that next. All right, so we've gone G to A. That gets us into the verse. All right, so I want to talk about this verse because I've seen people teach it different ways, even tabbed out different ways. They are just, watch them live, they're just palm muting that A string. And it's 16th notes, so we're doing 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a, okay? And then we hit A and then, or I'm sorry, G and then G hammered into A. All right, so that feel is 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and. And we start again. All right, you know, I see again people. Again, I really, you play how you want, but I'm pretty sure they're doing 16th notes into the G and then G A. All right. So we do the G and then G A with the counts between 3 times. After the 4th count, we're going to hit the G and then G again on the 4th and 3rd string open, and then play an E power chord, which will take us, similar to the intro, to the 2nd measure of the verse, but it's played like the 2nd measure of the intro. All right, so you can see the similarities there. So we're coming out again. Let's just go through the verse and you can see the difference. All right, I'm going to start with our final. All right, so the 2nd change there, we just do 2 E power chords with the palm mutes between. Then we change it up to the chorus lick. My apologies, I misspoke. I said chorus next, but it's actually a pre-chorus. So this is pre-chorus 1. These are the notes, all right? Very similar to what we did in the beginning, but different, of course. All right, so we're going to go up to the A the same. No palm muted notes between it. We're just hitting 2, 4, 5 on the 4th string and then 3rd fret of the 5th string. 2, 4, 5, and then an A power chord. Now we're going to do 2, 4, 5, and then a D power chord. All right, so this will be a D power chord up here at the 4th and 3rd string, 2nd fret. Right. Then it changes, of course. So up to the D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then what we do is we change this lick up. We're going to go 4, 5 on the 4th string to 2 on the 3rd string. And then a B power chord. So we have this so far. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it ends with the 3rd string at 11 and the 2nd string at 12. It's referencing a D form of a B, just like we landed on here, right? So we just take this D form, slide it all the way up to 11 and 12, but we're just using the 3rd and 2nd string. It's just really great way of taking a chord, inverting it, and giving it some interest. Of course, just a handful of chords, but it's how they're played. So we're going D, A, G, and then E, D, and then D, A, G, held, and then it repeats. All right. So the way I think they're playing on the recording are the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string power chords. See how that, we don't hear that bass note. It just sounds better to me recording wise. Now watching the guys live, they're just playing E to D. So they're playing. Alright, it's fine either way, but again, I think the recording and the way I wrote it out is just the bottom half, the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string. All right, so we just do the E to D on the 1st quarter measure. So we got this. And then we just do D, A, G. And it repeats. Alright, so you get the idea. After the chorus, we go into verse 2, same as what we learned for verse 1, and then pre-chorus and chorus 2. Again, the same as what we've learned. Now, what comes after that is the solo. So after chorus 2, we've got the solo rhythm in there. And the solo rhythm is quite different, okay? It's played by K.K. Downing, and Glenn Tipton does the solo, which is why this song took me a while. I'll play through the solo rhythm for you, and then we'll go over it. Great rhythm played by KK here. So we're going to hit an E power chord, a little bit of a pause, and before we hit it down up and then down up again. And we go to the D power chord and do that again. Then we move to the 3rd fret and do the C and then a slight pause, and then 2 more C's before we go to G, and then a slight pause for 2 more G's, and then E. Alright, so what we have so far, and it repeats, so we'll go through it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we switch it up. So we've done that twice. Now we're going to go B to A twice. Then we go to G, come back to A, and then sit on B for a second. Repeat. Then C to A, C, and then we'll go B to D and E. Slide down. All right. So that is a solo rhythm. Not difficult. It's one of those things. You know it in your head. This melody, this solo, everything about it is memorable. So once you know the chords there, or follow my tab, you'll be able to play it. I guarantee you. It's just really fun to do. And after they come out of it, they go into the intro. And we've got the 6-string in it. All right, so we know that. Okay, so after we come out of the solo, you'll hear, you know, like I said, the intro reprised. All right, we'll do that 3 times. The 3rd time, after the B, that 5 to 4, we're going to go into the interlude, okay? So the interlude will sound like this. I'll just stop there because it goes on for 4 measures. 2 measures by itself, and then 2 measures, that's KK Downing. 2 measures, then Glenn comes in with a slightly different rhythm as the vocals enter also. All right, so we come in. What we do is come up, we're going to be going between 7 and 5 on the 4th and 3rd string, D and C, and 2 palm mutes between most of them. So we'll start out 7, 2 palm mutes on the 5th string to 5, palm mutes, 7, palm mutes, 5, palm mutes, 7, pulled off to 5, and then we'll hit 5 again. All right, so that's kind of, that is half the measure. So we start out with the 7. Then we start in again, but we're only going to start with a single palm mute because that extra 5 took up a part of the measure. All right, see where that extra 1 note is? So let's do 2 measures of this so you'll get more of a feel for the rhythm. We're going to start just on the 7 on the 4 and 3rd string. 1, 2, 3, 4. See how that 1 note comes in there? It really, again, once you start playing this, that single note just fits in with the rhythm that you're playing. So again, this is KK's part. He does that 4 times. Glenn joins him. The first 2, he does it exactly as KK plays. But when the vocals enter, Glenn changes the rhythms. So when the vocals enter, Glenn does this rhythm for 2 measures. All right, so I'm going to go through it once and we'll talk about it. All right, so we're referencing a D on the 7th fret of the 4th and 3rd string, then 2 palm muted 5s. Then we change it up. We're going to hit 5 on the 4th and 3rd string, slide back to 4, and then to 2. So it's more of a slide 5 to 4 and then hit 2. All right, then a single palm muted 5, and then we hit the 5th root, or then we hit the 5th fret of the 4th and 3rd string. Then a single palm mute, and then 7 twice. Alright, so we have this so far. Now we're going to go single palm mute, then 7, and then double palm mute 5 to 4, and then hit 2. So similar to the intro, but we're starting off with the single palm mute. Then we go single palm mute, and then hit 5, and then 7. Then palm mute, back to 5. Alright, so let's just take this whole measure together, because this can be very confusing unless you really slow it down and play along with it and get used to this rhythm, because again, KK is doing something different, so it kind of, you hear that in the background. But 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that'll repeat. So the last measure of the interlude. You didn't think this would get easier, did you? Alright. This took me quite a while to figure out exactly what they're doing, but I think I've got it. So it'll sound like this and we'll go over it. Take the 2nd fret of the 5th, 4th, and 3rd string and hammer into the 4th fret, making a B. Oops. And then hit that chord again. Then we move to an A, but we're not going to hit the 5th fret. It'll be 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. Back to our B. Alright, so we have this so far. Then we're going to go to a D power chord, all right, and then hammer into an A to B. All right, so we have this so far. Just get that in your head. That rhythm really kind of sets up the rest of the rhythm. Then what we do is we're going to go to another B. So we've hammered into referencing a B, 2 to 4 on the 4th and 3rd string, but we're going to hit an actual B power chord twice. And then A to F sharp. So again, there's just a lot going on with this rhythm. So let's do it again together. 1, 2, 3, 4. after we hit that G sharp, we're going to go back to A and B power chords. Alright, I know that's a lot and following can be difficult, but again, my notes will help. We'll go through this again slowly up to that point, because this is the half measure that repeats. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we repeat. The difference with the repeat, once we hit the F sharp, we don't finish up with the A to B. Alright, so we come in with that pre-chorus. Alright, so let's go through that one more time. We'll do pre-chorus. This would be 3. Also, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, pre-chorus 3, and then we are into chorus 3. Difference with chorus 3 is it will repeat and go into the outro. So after that interlude and that funky rhythm, then we are into pre-chorus 3, which we went over. Then chorus 3. Now chorus 3, we know a chorus, it's a full measure. We go into the outro, which is basically a measure and 3/4. So let me go through the outro and I'll show you what chords change to end the song. Alright, so chorus 3 and then we are into outro. No vibrato there, but anyhow, so after we hit the E to D, we're going to go into a D and then A, so that'd be 5th root to 6th root A, and then G to E. Then we go D to G to E. And that ends the song. So that's all of the rhythm. Now we'll go over the solo next. There's a lot to it, so hang with me. I'll have the whole song. So Glenn starts the solo off with a nice little walk-up lick. What we're going to do is hammer on from 12 to 15 on the 2nd string, pull back off to 12, and then we'll land and strike 14 on the 3rd string. And then we move it up a half step all the way up to 19. So we'll go 19, 22, and landing on 21 on the 3rd string. Then he comes back to the 2nd string at 19 and then hits 22 on that 3rd string with a bend and vibrato and does it again. Glenn, after that nice little walk up, moves to the 12th position. Okay, he's going to do a nice little lick. We'll take it in bits here. Okay, that's the whole thing. Of course, not played as fast. Speed has never been kind to me, ever. I've tried and tried and tried and given up. So, regardless, this is what he's doing. I've slowed it down. He's taken 15, bent and released on the 1st string, then hitting 12 to 15 on the 2nd, and then back to 12 on the 1st. going to do some pull-offs, 15 to 12 second, and then first string. Coming back to 12 on the second. Alright, so we have this so far. Then we're going to move to the third string with a pull-off from 12 to 14, hitting 12 again. Then we move back to 14 on that third string with a bend and release and pull off to 12. And then come to 14 on the fourth string with a pull off to 12. Alright, so from the third string. Alright, at that point he reaches up and grabs the 15th fret of the 6th string. This is a G note. Comes back to 12, so he's skipping the 5th string. Comes back to 12 on the 4th string, and then 12 on the 6th with a bend and release. And vibrato. Now I thought maybe he did the G note here on the first string at 12, you know, kind of like a... But it doesn't sound right, it sounds better. So again, that's what I feel he's doing. Then what we're going to do is move up to 17. All right, we'll be at the 14th position, but we're going to hit 17 on the first string, and then 15 pulled off to 14, and slide that to 12. Then we're going to hit 15, 14, 12. All right, so we have this. Then we come to 15 on the second string, back to 12 on the first. Then a pull off from 15 to 12 on the second, and then go to the first with 12 hammered down to 15 and pulled off back to 12. Land on 15 on the second, back to 12. Alright, so we have this so far. Then we're going to pull off 15 to 12 twice. Then 14 to 12 from the third back to the second string. And then 15, 14, 12. Alright, so from the hammer on and pull off at the first string from 12 to 15 back to 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move back to the 14th position, and we're going to do this lick. It'll be 17 bent and then hit 14. And then 17 pulled off to 14, hit 14 again, and repeat that. So it's kind of like 14, and then a 17, 14 pull off, another 14, 17, 14 pull off. So we're going to do that a total of 6 times. And then he ends on 17 bent and held, all right? That leads us up to a nice little takeoff that's palm mute. Alright, is palm mute this until we get to the third string, and then we kind of, the last 2 notes will be just rung out. Alright, so it's 14, 15, 17, 14 on the 5th string, back to 17 on the 6th. Then we go 14, 15, 17. 14 on the 3rd, back to 17 on the 5th. So we're repeating that pattern a string down. So both together. Then we go 14, 15, 17. 14, back to 17 on 4 from 3. So again, we do this pattern 3 times. Then we hit 14 and 16 and hold that with vibrato. Okay, like I said, he plays it much faster, God bless him. So the tapping lick, we're going to tap on, let's say we're on the 14th position. We're going to be pulling 17 to 14, okay? We're just changing where we tap. We're going to be tapping 19 and then release it. And 17 release to 14. Then you'll hear him do a couple slide downs. And then he goes to 22, pull off. After that, what we're going to do is come up to 19 and 22. So what you're doing, 19 hammered onto 22, pull back to 19, back to 22 on the second string, and then we're going to hit 22 again, pulled off to 21 to 19. Then we come to 19, just lay your finger down, catch 19 on the first string, and then back to the second string, 22 pulled off to 19. Land on 22 on the third. Come back to 19, hammered onto 22, and then bend that 22 up. And catch 19 on the first string, again to 22 on the second to finish it off, bent and vibrato. Okay, so that's the last of the upper register. And now we're to the melodic part that you'll recognize in this solo. It'll sound like this. So what we're doing is sliding in third string to the 9th fret, and then we go 7, 8, 10, back to 8, 7, 8. After we hold that with some vibrato, we're going to hit 8 and then 7 with a slight bend and release. It's not a full step, and it's not quite a half bend, it's more of a quarter bend. And we end up on 9 again with some vibrato on that third string. So we have this. Then we repeat it, okay, up to the 8th note. Then we come to the third string, 9, 8. And then we start with the very last lick. Again, final lick played a lot quicker than I can, but there's a couple things you could do. I start out on the A note of the 6th string. If you want to start out the open 5, I've seen it played that way. For me, just muting the 6th string and then moving to 4, 2, 5 on the 5th string works out. Right, so we have 5 on the 6th string to 4, 2, 5 on the 5th, all palm muted. Then you just jump up to 6, 7, and 9 in the 5th string, and then 6, 8, 9 on the 4th string, and repeat those two. Then we're going to jump to the 3rd string, 8, 9, 11. You can start letting off the palm muting, because the last 2 strings are not palm muted. We'll hit 10, 11, 12, and then right to the, that's on the 2nd string, I'm sorry, and then right to the 1st string, 10 to 12. Alright, so slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, that is the solo. I really hope this helps everybody. Enjoy.